Hey, look at Twitter, bro. Nigga said Blake fooled y'all. Blake owed Detroit money.
Man, shut up, Bobby. Shut up, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it, bro.
No,
it's hard now. Of course, okay. We all know Blake in there for cardio when the big.
He just, bro. Why Giannis be getting dunked
so
on
smart,
like
bro.
that?
That's what I was trying to say.
man,
That's
Blake
all.
is in there for cardio, man.
Nah, Blake really, Blake.
Bro.
He a smart player, bro.
Nah, he is a smart player. He knows spacing too, bro. He understands.
Even if he's not
too.
scoring, he. That's what I'm saying. Even if he's not scoring,
damn, he took off.
He doing so much other things.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. He low key took.
Hey, come back,
man.
Come on back, man.
It wasn't that bad, bro. Come on, man.
Y'all just saying, man.
Come on, man. Let's do it, man.
Let's get it. Let's get it, man. Welcome back to another episode of the Open Run Podcast. I'm your boy Cinco. We got Gino, Twan Llama, D Trill, and special guest, my guy Agent 00. You feel me? Now,
how's it going, man? A
lot of y'all may know Agent, but our audience isn't too familiar with you right now. So if you would, I know you probably did it a few times, but just break down your story for us a little bit. Let us know how you got into YouTube, and then we'll have some questions and just roll it on from there, man.
Sure. Well, I've been doing YouTube forever now. In 2008, I think Marshawn Lynch had like a 70-yard run against the Saints, and I was the first person on YouTube to upload that shit illegally, and it got 80,000 views, and I was like, wow, views feels great. Like getting views feel great. And I back in the day, I used to watch a lot of machinima. So anyone who's in the gaming space back then knows what machinima is. It was the biggest gaming content creators on the platform on one channel. It was like a community channel that posts all these guys. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I want to do that. Whether I can or not, I don't know, but I want to do it. So I just participated in the only way I knew how. At the time, I had a real squeaky voice, so I ain't jumped straight into commentary, but I edited for people. So I get people to send me clips, and I was a montage editor trying to work my way up. So I got familiar with like 3D animation, 3D design, 3D modeling, just composition, and I got very familiar with VFX. And then from there, 3 years, 4 years later, I kind of got tired. I didn't get tired of it. I just was unhappy with my results. And being real with myself, I just changed directions. GTA 5 was about to come out. And in 2014, I made a channel just talking about GTA 5. And from there, I jumped around. I was top 1,000 in a lot of different games. So I became like a tips and tricks channel. I was top 1,000 in The Last of Us. In Uncharted 3, I was top 1,000. I was top 10 in Watch Dogs online hacking. To be fair, it wasn't much competition. So I just got my way to the tippity top of leaderboards. And I was like, this is how I did it. And so I was great at the console gaming. So when GTA 5 came out, I just went all into it. I started to develop an audience, and I jumped around a little bit from game to game. I played a little bit of Ghost Recon, but I eventually found a home doing my GM content on 2K. It was cool because I wanted to be a sport management major, and that's what I was going to uni for. So in my head, I wanted to be a general manager of the Toronto Raptors, and there was this mode called My GM where I got a chance to be the general manager of the Toronto Raptors. So I dove into that, and at the time, I think Lost and Unbound was the only person doing My GM really. So there wasn't much competition. If you typed in My GM on YouTube, my videos would show up at the top, and that helped me out big time. Just gain like my first, couple thousand subscribers. So I just ran with that, and eventually, I worked my way up and pivoted and did a whole bunch of different stuff. And now I'm across like 5 different channels, doing like anywhere from my podcast to my gaming channel to my second channel to lifestyle stuff, competitive A&P stuff. So I'm spread pretty thin now, doing a bunch of stuff. But for a while, I just did one thing, and I just did it as best as I knew how until I was able to develop that audience.
Amazing, man. And I kind of want to talk about that. Like when it comes to spreading yourself thin versus focusing on one area, like obviously you were focused on getting a space, getting to the top. What I love about your story is you never even mentioned money, dude. Like I'm sure the money good, you feel me? But you had a purpose, you had a goal, and you went after that. And not to say that you did whatever it took, but you tried a couple of different things. So what's the difference in, like, I guess mentally, happy wise, like doing a bunch of stuff and being successful in that, or just doing that one thing? Like, which do you prefer?
I think like nowadays you hear a lot of people say stuff like do what makes you happy, but I wasn't happy doing my GM for 4 years straight. Like, cause I played other games and I played other game modes. Like right now on my gaming channel, I upload only NBA 2K, but the main games I play are Apex and Valorant. I don't stream those. So sometimes you had to just like be great at what you're doing before. You don't want to prematurely jump to nothing else. And there's plenty of examples of that in the industry. Like 50 Cent went diamond on multiple albums before he decided to pivot and get into film. Film was probably something he was interested in a while, getting into TV. Turns out he's fantastic at it. But if he hadn't dominated the way he did in music, he wouldn't have had that head start. He wouldn't have had the doors and the connections to. So I've been meeting people. I mean, I pull up to these events. I have another event in Miami and then one in LA this month. And you just meet people and you get a chance to do things with those people. So it's like, I don't take it for granted. At the end of the day, like my job is to make videos, you know? So it doesn't matter if it's not the exact thing I want to be making videos on. Like I'm blessed that I could call it my job. So I wake up every day knowing that the fun I have in it can, like, the motivation can fade anytime, but I enjoy the actual problem solving from day to day. Like 2K21 is cheeks, and I have to figure out how to keep this channel alive. Like that's a big problem. You got to figure out that problem because a lot is on the line. So it's like that. I'm obsessed with solving problems. And I'm better at it now than I was like years ago. But yeah, all in all, like you sometimes you do have to just stick to a thing. And I stuck to a thing for a while, and people kept telling me, agent, why are you sticking to 2K? Like it's bad for business, man. You like, this is your peak. People kept trying to tell me what my peak was. And I was like, but you don't know what I'm going through though. Like you don't know, you don't see my vision the way I see my vision. But it's like on my other channels now, like A&P is averaging over 1 million views, but I'm still doing 2K over here. So it's like you could keep this thing that's working well, and then on the side, grow and build this until it's big enough. And the second you can start generating enough revenue, now you're delegating tasks. Like we have 4+ cameramen on set, production managers, strategy people. We have people on the TikToks and IGs and Twitters. And so there's people on the team now, but it wasn't always like that. I think sometimes that's why I always struggle to give advice to people, because I'm like, I don't know what your vision is. And what I really don't want to do is shit on your vision. Because it's like, even if it's unrealistic, that's for you to see it out. That's not for me to like sit there and criticize. So like, if one of y'all told me you want to be in the NBA, but you were like 5'8", like I could look at you and be like, damn, man, the odds are not high. But that's your vision though, bro. Like you have to try for that. And it's like, if that's what you're all about, then me telling you not to do it's not gonna make you any happier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I can speak for everybody on this call. Like, we're not where you're at right now, success wise, but you've been doing this clearly for a long time. You said 2008, like 2008, bro.
It's a long ass time, bro. 13 years.
I ain't really have this vision yet. I still was obsessed with the school thing and everything my parents were teaching me, and God bless them, they were letting me know, what they felt and everything that they knew. But obviously, the world works a different way now. And so the fact that you saw it so early is awesome. But it also means that a lot of people who didn't see it early were probably doubting you. So I kind of wanted to dive into that. Like, what a lot of people don't know is what I found out in the last 2+ years is that when you're on your journey and you have that vision and people don't see it, sometimes you lose friends. Sometimes you gain friends. Like you're saying, networking now, meeting the who's instead of focus on the what. But can you talk to me about some of the friends that you may have lost? You may have not lost any, but if you did, how did you go through those emotions? Like, if you could dive into something like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't say I lost friends. Friends just kind of faded out. Like once everything about me was about like succeeding on YouTube. Like I wanted this so bad. I like wake up and think about it. I'd be in school, I think about it. I go home, I rush to do it. That's all I thought about it. There was some people that just didn't fit that for me no more. You know what I'm saying? I was in high school. I remember like I'll be in class and they'd be like, yo, this one guy was like mocking your intro. And I tried to keep it pretty low key, not because I was ashamed. Like I was proud. I thought the videos I was making at the time were bangers, but it was just like, I didn't really need that outside external input to affect my decision-making on a day-to-day. But people eventually found out. And when you don't have a lot of like viewers and people find out, like that's a negative thing, you know what I'm saying? Because now they're like, they'll make fun of the way you do your intro and the way you end your videos and the couple sayings that you might have in your videos. So like, I just kind of took it on the chin. That didn't really ever dissuade me because I was so delusional in believing that like I knew myself and what I wanted better than you knew what I wanted for myself. Facts. So I just let them rock. And I even like, I wasn't not friends with people that criticized me neither. I wouldn't say I welcomed it, but it definitely didn't faze me. So I just Like I really was, the best way to do it, I was just unfazed by it. But it just naturally so happened that the people that didn't want that for me just fade out of my life. And I wasn't in any like attempt to keep them in my life. So it's like, we just stopped talking. But once I got in uni, it was easier to keep it a secret in uni because like you might see somebody in a class and never see him again. So when you have friends in uni, it's because y'all went to the same events. Maybe you linked up in the gym, you hooped together. Right. Like you had to have something in common aside from just classes most of the time. But when people started finding out in uni in my third year before I dropped out, it actually made them want to be friends with me. So it was kind of difficult to tell like which friends were genuine because it's like I had an intramural team. And I always like participating in intramurals, even though I wasn't good at basketball. But it got to a point where like some of the guys on like the school practice team were running with me, and it's like that's not gonna just happen if I ain't have like a few 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? They knew that I had that, so it's like it was difficult to kind of gauge it. So it is a benefit in that like people want to do shit for you and with you as a result. So then it went from like people being turned off by the fact that I was doing this unique thing to people almost celebrating it and wanting to be around it. And then me wanting to not be around that energy because I was like, I'd rather have the genuine energy from the people that I've been rocking with. Or like you could tell like once after a while, like, you get a vibe of like who's being genuine and who's not. And then you could just juke the people that's not for you to the side. But it's not out of like hate, or sometimes people think it's out of that like I think I'm better than. It's just like I'm very guarded about my energy. So it's like you could be a great person, but I don't know that about you yet. And I'm not going to give everyone a chance because I have so much shit going on. So yeah, I was pretty quiet in uni, like aside from sports and stuff. I didn't hang around like maybe the same 4 or 5 friends. We're all like nerdy in our pursuit of wanting to outperform each other in class. And just in all areas of life, really. We're just like, what'd you get on the test? How'd you do today in like intramural football? Like we were just competing against each other in like every imaginable way. But now I have a good group of friends. A lot of them are in the same space as me. Some of them are a little bit different. They might be in music or in comedy. And so like I can draw from their experiences, but we live kind of like the same life because our job is to entertain. So there's a lot to learn from the life other people have lived. And at the same time, I have a lot to offer because I'm living a very unique life, I feel like. So I wouldn't have any complaints. I think if you asked me 4 years ago, I would have complained. Like, man, it's yeah, a lot of people were talking shit, but like I kind of just grew past that. It's not nothing that bothers me.
Yeah.
So when you say like when you say like your every day, like, you know, back then you used to wake up, you want to rush to get to YouTube and stuff like that. Like, what does a regular day look like for you now? Because, you know, with 5 channels, with, you know, all the channels you got, AMP and your podcast and your main channel, second channel, everything like that. Like, what does an everyday process look like for you to kind of balance that out with scheduling or when you want to record and edit and, you know, whatever the case may be?
It's a little bit easier now because I have like systems in place. So I have calendars and project management tools. So I'll know like at 8 I have this, at 9 I have this. I have this meeting with this person to bring them on board to this. They're taking care of Facebook for AMP. So it really depends. Sometimes it could be just life stuff. Like I just dropped my car off to get rewrapped like 4 days ago, but it was on the other side of town. So now I got to make 2 hours and drive a car to the other side of town. Everything is just scheduled. I have scheduled like brainstorming times where I come up with ideas. I've scheduled meetings with playback, peer-to-peer, AMP, and my guys on Agent X side of things. So honestly, it feels weird because I don't feel as much of like a content creator anymore, as much as I feel like I'm running businesses because my day isn't what it used to be. My day used to be like wake up, do video, upload video, go to sleep. Now it's like I'm in a lot of meetings because like we're about to spend $10,000 to build this set for an AMP video. And then like, do you want to commit to this brand integration for your main and second channel? This movie wants you to promote them for the playback channel. So it's like, I'm kind of split, but I have good teams on all these sides. So they kind of keep me in tune. And sometimes I forget. So they'll just double check with me. They know like I don't really be on my phone like that. So they'll like hit me on Discord, and you might see me on Discord a little more frequently. So it feels more like a business, which at first I didn't like, but like life is not going to stay the same forever. So I'm a content creator at heart, but things change and you just got to be happy with the change. Otherwise you're going to keep thinking about like the good old days. I don't want to be a good old day kind of guy, man.
So
and
even
it's highly productive. It's very productive. A lot of people look at schedules like that and say, "Oh, it's busy, it's overwhelming." And at times it can be, but if you know you're building towards something and you're productive, to me, that's peace of mind, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah.
So even with the 5 channels feel like a business for you, but you know, I know you just got that you know, your new house and you got the Airbnb business now. So like talk about that a little bit, because I've been seeing Airbnb businesses on Instagram and people giving about how they started it and things like that. But like, what was kind of like your process of getting into it?
So for a while I was like a very cautious decision maker. I know because of how I sound, like the internet assumed like I haven't really been through much, but like my dad was a taxi driver, my mom didn't work. So I know what it's like to have to like beg for $10 because I want to go bowling because all my friends were going bowling. I was blessed to like grow up in a good area though. So I didn't grow up around a lot of toxicity. So I just know what I don't want to go back to. I don't want to go back to ever having to worry about money ever again. And I want to be able to like be that beacon for everybody around me. So it's like when I had an editing position, I reached out to Waleed, you know what I'm saying? So now me and Waleed been working together for 5 years. So if I could do that for the people that I care the most about, then I'm doing something dope. I don't know. Ask that question again. I kind of like went off
Like
track.
what made you get in, you know, to have an extra business venture, you know, why would you pick Airbnb?
So yeah, the way I got there is I was very conservative with stuff because I didn't want to lose everything. But then I realized that like my life was a series of risky decisions that paid off. So I was like, I should feel comfortable knowing that it don't matter if I lose it all. Not that I want to, but I can make it back though. Like it don't matter how, it doesn't matter to me how long it's gonna take, but I can make it back. So then I heard that the government like printed like 33% of the bills in this country's history in 1 year. And I had a lot of money sitting doing nothing. I was just waiting for, I guess, an opportunity. And I felt very uncomfortable with the idea of inflation just eating away my money, because inflation hurts the people that have saved the most. The people that spend money don't get hurt nearly as bad. And the people that have a lot of debt actually win when inflation goes up. So I just needed something to spend it on. At the time, I wasn't living in this country for 2 years. So I didn't meet any criteria for any loans with good interest rates. So I just bought it. I just had money. I bought a house. And then we went through the process of, it was a mission. But now it's smooth. The first couple months of Airbnb was difficult. It was things going wrong. People were putting holes in the wall. There was a bat that infiltrated one of the rooms and was holding some of the people there hostage. And then the goddamn exterminator came in and said the reason the bats are there is because there's termites. There's mice, and the reason the mice are there is because there's termites. And so I realized like the whole animal kingdom has made its way into my house. But then now I'm like dealing with so many issues. Like I had 2 tenants. Two renters, guests lock themselves out of the house. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like, it's so simple to not lock yourself out of a house, but people still manage to do stuff like that. So then I reached out to Omar. Omar has been helping me manage the texts. If there's like an emergency, he'll go out there. So now I have him doing that as like the host of the house, what they call it on Airbnb. So I'm notified when people book rooms and stuff, but I'm largely removed now from the processes on the day-to-day.
Gene, check your mic real quick. You muted. My bad.
But for the first like month though, I wanted to be involved just so I knew what that process looked like. And if anything happened, worst case scenario, I should be like competent enough to figure out the solution. I had AC break on people. It's been interesting, but now that it's smoothened out, if I can, depending on how much money I could save by the end of the year, I'm gonna get a second property and just start to like scale things, because the money I'm making off Airbnb is dumb. Like we got lucky that there was a 6-bedroom house with a lot of space, because people split 6-bedroom houses. So they don't mind paying $300 per, but they would mind paying like $800 a night for an individual. So because people split it, they're willing to pay a lot more. And it's just been pretty lucrative for me, even after cleaning fees. So I've been blessed.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure, man.
I think that's
go ahead, man.
I think what stuck with me was, like you said, you kind of reassured yourself and said that basically, you know, you was up in the air about making the leap and, you know, taking the chance with the business venture, but you realized that, you know, basically your whole life has been surrounded by, you know, you taking chances and you taking risks. And it kind of like, I kind of feel like a lot of people can relate to that. that's a big thing for them. A lot of people may have ideas they want to act on, or they may have, different things they want to do, if it's health wise or anything, what I'm saying? Just as far as taking that chance, I kind of feel like, you were able to pretty much shine a little light on that and just basically set it in their head like, hey, if you got anything that you want to do, just go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you got to move on the leap of faith. And I think that was a big thing. And then also you said something about, your energy, the energy that you would give people, certain people around you, even if they couldn't see your vision or everything like that, you said like, it was, people that basically removed themselves. You didn't have to do the removing for them, or the falling out for them, because they pretty much fell out of your circle naturally because they didn't see your vision, or they didn't, see the time that you were putting into it, or see the, the process that it took for you to get to where you are now. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of feel like that was a big thing that you said. And, I appreciate it. I know we all do, but I'm sure, the viewers will also appreciate you saying that too. So
thanks. Appreciate that.
And now the problem with success to me is when you make it, people think you just stay there. And you clearly just talked about a couple of problems that you maneuvered through. And not only did you do that, but you put someone in place to handle that, because that's not a space of growth for you to be handling little minute things like that as you work your other businesses. But what I'm getting at is like the problem with success that I see with people is they see you as you are. A lot of people talked about like Floyd Mayweather and the purses that he's getting these days for just showing up for a fight. But it's like, he's been fighting since 4 years old.
Yeah.
Who was there then? Like he had struggles. He probably dealt with some doubts. And I kind of wanted to, I mean, you could talk about that, but I wanted to dive into, if you're open to it, it's like some self-doubts or maybe some things that enter your mind that were maybe negative along the way. And maybe even some things you're still dealing with, because people think successful people are so invincible and they were supposed to be there, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I like to think I'm pretty self-aware. If I'm wrong about that, that's gonna be tragic for my business. But like, I don't ever see it as self-doubt, because I'm confident knowing that I'm great, but I could always be better at certain things. I was having a drive yesterday trying to figure out my appeal right now, and like how to, for example, like on YouTube, what works, on social media, what works is being the most extreme at something. Like Cash Nasty's really loud, and he's really big, and he's really strong. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that are just really smart and really, really witty or really funny. Like there's a brand for everybody. But when you're not at the extreme for something, your appeal isn't immediately clear to people. You know what I'm saying? So let's say your appeal is creativity. People kind of have to get the hang of you to know, like, oh, you get real creative. Like you have to watch deep into a video to, oh, okay, I like that. Some creativity onto a. So last night while I was driving, I was trying to figure out what it was that made people want to watch me. And that's such a difficult question to answer, because you don't know how to get out of your own way when you're answering it. You let your ego kind of give you the wrong answer sometimes. And so it's like you had to, so I identified the things that I thought people liked about me, where I went away from that in the past couple of years, and then a couple of things I could do to add on to that. But that's a forever process. I'd never call it a doubt though, because I'm gonna get there regardless. But it's like, you could always be more entertaining. You're not the most entertaining version of you. And people at the end of the day are watching you for, sometimes it's for information, but in my space is generally for entertainment. People want to be entertained. So I just want to know what's the best way for me to do that for people. So yeah, I don't think I feel doubts anymore, mainly because I made a decision like 6 months ago to not be fueled by fear. For a while, I was like, I don't want to make the wrong decision and then fall flat on my face. And like, I wouldn't start a channel or start a venture or decide to do this because like fear was keeping me locked up in a place that I knew I couldn't stay forever. And the reality is not making a decision is a decision. It's just, you're going to see the death spiral hit you. It's going to happen over the course of maybe years, but eventually that's going to be way more difficult to recover from. So I am feeling more confident that I can grab opportunities that's out there for me, but I have to be straight with myself. And I was doing that for like 3 hours last night, listening to that Lil Baby album, Spectacular World.
I've been telling them, man. Lil Baby then grew. He grew. He really is rapping now, and his progression as an artist is real good.
my next point has a little bit to do with Lil Baby. Like, he's gonna be himself. And I'm not co-signing, I'm not feeding your ego, agent, but years and years of watching your channel, bro, like, I've always appreciated that you're genuinely yourself. Like, you don't try to be anybody else. The fact that you acknowledge that people are extreme in all these areas, what attracts me, I'm not saying what works for the kids, man. I'm not a kid, but the fact is like, that personality, the loud or the big or the witty or whatever, that can attract people. But to sustain people, they have to fall in love with you. You understand what I'm saying? Where it's not even about 2K anymore. It's not even about, you know what I mean, whatever game system or whatever you're streaming, GTA, whatever it's going to be. People log in to see you. And I've always felt like you come off as a genuine person. You never tried to be nobody. Bro, you've had your hair out as long as I've known. Like, you always had the stash, man. You did lose some weight, you feel me? Which is great for you, man. We don't have to get into that right now, but you look good, brother. But the point is, people fall in love with you, and that's what keeps your audience there. You know, that if I could point out anything that you're searching for, that to me means a lot. Is people who can genuinely be themselves and be comfortable.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because it's sometimes I get answers like that from people that I see in public, but they don't want to be mean or rude. So like for example, you telling me that, oh, I used to watch your videos all the time. It's like you basically tell me you stop watching the videos. At least that's a way to look at it.
I don't play video games anymore, man.
No. I'm not saying you, but I see that in public. So sometimes when I'm trying to understand me and my appeal better, I'll look and listen to the people that watch me. But sometimes they'll change their answers, or they'll give you like a real softball version of what they meant. Like no one's gonna pull up to me and be like, that one video you dropped was some ass, and that's why I stopped watching it. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult to get like honest feedback. So that's what I'm saying. I appreciate that right there.
Yeah, no problem, bro.
I'm glad you touched on the Lil Baby thing. Who is your favorite rapper right now? I mean, you know, no bias, anything. Like,
here we go.
Who you got?
We know it ain't Drake.
We know it ain't Drake.
Nah, my favorite of all time is Lupe Fiasco. I just kind of grew up on him, and like I could listen to his music forever because it's almost as like he like puts together like a puzzle, and you had to like put together the pieces. And it's like sometimes you might come up with a different meaning in the song than the next person, and it, in a sense, that does the music really have meaning if you could just attribute your own meaning to it? But like a lot of the time I'll leave the music with like goosebumps from like, wow, like, how could you even use words to like illustrate your point to that level? And he does that like over and over and over again. But right now, I like A Boogie because I don't know what the fuck he says in his song.
Okay.
It makes me like, he's just a good vibe. Like I could bump to him. I never get sick of his voice.
A Boogie.
But aside from that, probably Black or Lil Baby.
Yes.
Okay. Black is different too. I like Black.
Shout out Lupe, man. He got the greatest freestyle ever on 10 Westwood. It's old as hell, but bro, he just kept going.
10 Westwood, a legend.
Man,
legend.
He got the best freestyle ever on 10 Westwood. So that's what's up.
Super dope.
So I know you like cars, man. What's your favorite car right now? Do you have it? Is it something you want later on down the road? What you looking at?
Damn, I don't like talking about cars no more because I feel like every time I talk about it, it sounds like I'm flexing, but I really like cars though. So, but like when I had that conversation with people, they're like, "Oh, there you go, talking about his cars again." And it's like I can't.
Guy, bro, so
because when I pull up on people now, it's like all my cars look flashy, but it's like, bro, I grew up watching Fast and Furious. First game I ever played was Need for Speed 3. So I wanted those cars.
Come on, man.
Midnight Club.
Midnight Club.
Double edition, the best one, man.
Yeah. So I grew up wanting those. So I had a Honda. It was beautiful. I loved it. My first car. But I got in 2 accidents in blizzards in Toronto, and I almost died twice. And so I just ditched it. I said, nah, I'm out. I need safety features. So I got me a Mercedes, and I loved it. Like, I love how it crackled and popped every time it switched gears. I love how it was like quick and zippy. I did quick little mods to it. But then I was like, let me just commit. Like, fuck it. If I lose like 30, 40,000 because like something went wrong, I'm gonna just rock with it. But then I got an M4 and I made it wide body. I got wide wheels, air suspension, carbon fiber everywhere, underbody lights. Like I had basically the cars I grew up dreaming I had. I just made.
You went and got them.
You went and got that Midnight Club in real life, man.
Yeah. So I love driving it. That's my Zen mode now. If I have like a big meeting, and it's on the phone, it's not like on video, I'll just go in my car, I'll do my little breathing exercises, and I'm like in Zen mode, like, and it's a ton of fun. I've gotten a lot of tickets. I have some I'm fighting right now. Just being dumb with my car, but yeah. So then I got like a couple other, like I got my practical dad Audi, like my SUV. So now that's like my camera car. So I got all my camera equipment. Like anytime I need something, boom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I got my off-road Range Rover for when I want to be dumb and jump curves and shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But my dream car is a Porsche GT2 RS.
Oh man, and them Porsches, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. I would never get it because I'm just thinking, like, I just said I wanted to never have nothing. Like, I don't ever want to have to worry about money again. So just getting that's a bad decision. But if let's say I come across like $10 million tomorrow, and I didn't have to worry about nothing for the next 10 years, then yeah, I would get that off the rip. I saw Austin Rivers has that car, and he they recorded.
Austin Rivers got a nice car collection.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful car. It sounds incredible. Transmission's great. It's fast as fuck.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I think that's what's up.
That M4, yeah.
That's a fun car. I think people see it and they just expect me to be fast, but it doesn't put any of the power down. Like, it's an angry mess of a car. Like, it'll burn out and you got to get control of it. It's one of those cars where if you drive dumb in it long enough, you will total it. You see a lot of Chargers like that actually in Atlanta. It's like you gotta try not to be dumb for too long, or you will total that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Hellcat, right?
What's that?
The Hellcats.
The Hellcats.
Oh yeah, the Hellcat. Yeah. They do that a lot here in Atlanta.
You see a lot of Hellcats, man. Out here in LA too, bro.
Oh yeah.
You see a lot. Yeah.
The lot of Hellcats.
I want to go back to your journey, bro. You say you started in 2008, right?
Yeah.
I just want to say, bro, that's so inspiring, just because I can think about what I was doing in 2008. I was 14 years old. I think The Dark Knight had just came out, and I was in the shoot. I think that same year I went to Kobe Bryant Basketball Academy. 2008 that was a long time ago, bro. 13 years. Like, that's inspiring to, be still in it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
KD came in the league when you started that YouTube.
I was just about to say, you got Bron been in the year, 17 years, 18 years, whatever. You got more than half of that. That's inspiring, bro.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to have friends throughout my whole life that were doing it with me. So like, when I first started, I had friends that would get clips from me in Call of Duty, send them to me so I could edit. And then eventually they quit because, peer pressure get to you and you want to be cool as fuck in high school. Right. So eventually it get to you. And I tried to convince them otherwise because I thought they were very entertaining. But like, you didn't have the vision, so that's cool.
Right.
You had something else that's meant for you, then you could go get that. But when I was in uni, it was the same thing. So when I was in uni, I was on Skype every day with Legend of Winning, Waffle Man, and a few other friends. And every day for hours, we would sit there, either play 2K or talk YouTube or talk NBA. And like, it was all that I concerned myself with. So I didn't get jobs because I rather get a short-term volunteer opportunity and then do YouTube on the side. I didn't live in regular dorms because it would be better for me to live in a townhouse so I could have the space to make YouTube videos. And when it was summer and everyone went back to Toronto, because I went to uni in Niagara, I didn't go back because I couldn't record videos in my parents' house. There was too much noise. So I just stayed on campus by myself because like, I was like, I put too much into it.
Right,
and
absolutely.
So I was like, there's no way I don't see this through. And it's like, it could have been a grand waste of time for all I knew. But I just saw it happen for so many people that I knew that I wasn't much different from the next guy. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if I just stuck in there long enough and tried enough things and really understood my appeal, then eventually I would see some success. And the second you start seeing success, YouTube's like a snowball.
Right.
It starts to pick up, and you ever make like a snowball, the hardest part is like that first core. And then once, especially if you have packing snow, second you get to rolling, like you can just push it down the hill, it'll make itself. Yeah. So eventually it started making itself, and my job was to not mess it up. It's to not get in the way. Race. Yeah, and so, yeah, but you mentioned like you don't stay there. Like, I'm not delusional. Like, when you blow up, the likelihood that you stay up is not high. Like, if you make it a year, that's congratulations. If you make it 5 years, that's huge. There's guys in the game that have been popping for 10 years. That is a magnificent feat. That's very difficult to accomplish. So I know how lucky of a position I'm in, and it could be gone at any moment now.
Right.
So I don't get freaked out when there's a negative spiral. I just make the best decision I know how to make. And then I trust that it'll work out. And even if this falls apart, that the next thing is there for me. You know what I'm saying? So in 2019, I had one channel. In the beginning of 2019, I had one channel. I made 3 channels in the span of 2 months, and they were all channels I really believed in. And then the end of 2020, I made another channel to make my 5th one, and they all have their own appeal. And I believe they could all be 10 million subscribers, massive. And so that was my defense against fear. Like, even if one of them falls off, like A&P's averaging 1 million per. If A&P falls off, like my podcast is top 5 in gaming in the country. Even if that falls off, like Playback, where we do commentary reaction videos, I think that has the potential to be huge. So it's like, I just made the best decisions I knew how. I've took some losses along the way for sure, but I don't relish on him. Like, you're not gonna, who the fuck is winning flawless? Nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody's doing that.
So what would you say you're like at first with YouTube? Like, what was, I guess, like the moment where you kind of sat back and was like, damn, I'm making it? Like, maybe not have made it where you wanted to be at the time, but like, damn, this is really something now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you could remember that moment? Like, maybe it was a video that went crazy and you was like, okay, I got it. Or, you know, maybe
but could you remember that year?
Yeah, that year, whatever it was.
I think it was damn, there's so many moments. There wasn't like one big moment. It was just a lot of small things that happened. Like,
Right.
so, like people that I grew up watching would like reach out to me and be like, how'd you even get my number? But then they'd be like, yo, I fuck with your videos. And I'd be like, what? What are you talking about? And
Right.
we'd sit there and talk about shit for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It could be like the first sponsorship I ever got was like a scale. And I remember that summer I was negative in my bank account. And I didn't want to tell my parents because they already thought I was making a bad decision. So I couldn't verify them and let them know I was making a bad decision, because they'd be like, just come home. Like, just come home. And it's like, yeah, that's a place to stay. But then all that work I put into is kind of just gone. Like, you don't see that vision for me. So I'm not gonna let you interrupt it for me. And I remember thinking, like, I had this sponsorship that was $100. And I went to McDonald's, and I was in love with McFlurries back then. I was on like a McFlurry diet.
We all was, bro.
Oh, boys.
When it worked.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I got rejected. And I thought, like, there's no way. But it said -24. I was in overdraft. And then I went on this website called FameBit, and I just spent hours pitching myself to random brands. And there was one brand that said yes for $100 for the scale. And I thought, like, this brand is about to pay me $100 for this fucking scale. I'm gonna sell shit out the scale. I'm gonna tell everybody how great this scale is. And then usually sponsorships take like 60 to like 120 days. Like, sometimes it could take a while to get your money, but they were quick with it. So they kind of saved me that summer, so I didn't look like a tool to my parents and let them believe like they were correct about things. But that moment I was like, yo, like, that means something. And that summer, like a few weeks later, I had my first video actually blow up at 80,000 views. And then that's the momentum I was talking about. The next one became much easier, and the next one became much easier. And then that year was when 2K17 released, and I just took off. So 17. That moment I was like, oh, okay. It kind of felt like I made it when I got 80,000 views. I was like, yo, I was showing people, like, look what I just did, man. I got this little 80,000 views. That was a pretty big moment for me. So I'd say probably that one if I had to pick any. But I get reminded all the time, like, I know there's so much more to go. Yeah, like, this is not the highest I'm gonna go, but at the same time, like, where I am is pretty great. So I want to, like, at least appreciate that fact, being grateful about it.
Right. So next thing, you know, I wanted to get into, because all of us on the call, you know, have our own, you know, we've been on our own fitness journeys and stuff like that. Like, I was just on, you know, your podcast, Peer to Peer. Y'all, you know, we talked about how I've been training and stuff lately, whatever the case may be. Gene's been going heavy for 2 years lately, maybe more than that shit, but I know heavy for 2 years. You know, Memph's been doing this thing. Me, Gene, and, you know, Memphis was college athletes. Twan played, you know, with us time to time. He's going on his fitness journey as well. And, you know, like Gene said earlier, you went through your own journey, you know, where you lost weight. And I met you when you were bigger, and I've seen you lose the weight. We talked about that too. But just kind of like, you know, give your insight on, you know, what made you come to the decision that you wanted to get your body, get your health together, and kind of like what did you actually do to kind of, shed that weight?
Yeah, that was a mission. For like as happy as I was my whole life, I've never really been depressed. Actually, I haven't. There's no debate about it. I've been either neutral or happy my whole life, but the one area that kept nagging me down was my weight. And I still have it, but I'm way better now, like a binge eating problem. So in uni, I was eating, man. It was 8,000 calorie days consistently. And like, I didn't know how to stop. Like there was no way to get me to stop. That night after after I completed a long day, I'm like, yo, let me congratulate myself with food. I think coming to Atlanta helped a lot. I lost 30 pounds. I started my journey in Toronto. But when I moved, it's interesting. Now, you would think like if you're around healthy people, you can be healthier. But seeing so many overweight people here in Atlanta, I kept seeing people, and not out of disgust, but out of like, I knew I wanted way better for me. I would be like, man, like, I don't want to live that life. And I remember one time I pulled up to a Popeyes, man, and I saw this guy in Toronto. It was winter. It's snowing. It's cold out. But he came in basketball shorts and a tee. I went everywhere in basketball shorts and a tee. We were there at Popeyes. We looked exactly the same as some like 30-year-old white guy. And I thought like, yo, that's what I look like to people right now at Popeyes, ordering a lot of food. So I kind of just checked myself, and I started to eat keto as much as I could. Like, it was difficult to stick to. But when I came to Atlanta, it was like a pattern interrupt. All the places I love, hey, I don't want to talk shit about Atlanta or nothing, but Toronto food spots was superior for me. Like, there were so many good food spots. So like the Popeyes here is worse. Like the Subways here are worse. All the things I knew, the franchises here are worse. Like there's a few good Mediterranean spots I found since I moved here, but they don't compare. So it's like, it was just way easier for me to eat better because all the stuff I knew and loved is not the same here. Yeah. So it gave me like a refresh to eat better. And so I did, and I got into water fasting a little bit. I'll do random like 3-day water fasts because my gut was in terrible condition, and I needed like a reset from time to time just to get my health back in check. But it was like a slope that went downwards, but it was some ups and downs in it. And I think over the process, I just identified bad habits, and then I fought those. And I think the biggest realization for me was like, why was I eating? And you always, if you're gaining weight, it means you haven't answered the question. And I realized that I was eating because I was bored. It'd be 2 a.m. and I finished my work for the day, and I'd be looking at Netflix and think to myself, like, some Lay's would go well with this TV show. So once I identified that, I just tried to stop me from being bored. Or like I tried things like maybe chew some gum. Like what's something I could do to like, so I just tried a bunch of things. Eventually I broke down those bad habits, and then I took some time to build up some better ones. I don't eat the best right now, but like I'll make better decisions. Like today I had Shake Shack, but like I wanted to eat like a little bit more keto, so I removed the bun and had a lettuce wrap, and like I feel great. Like that was a good meal.
Shake Shack or In-N-Out?
I would say, what's up, Waleed? I'm recording. It's, I actually don't know. Oh, it's downstairs on the couch. Shake Shack, 100%. But you have to go to the right one, bro. Hey. I've been to bad Shake Shack.
Twan don't like that. Twan don't like that. He don't like that.
I agree with you, bro. I agree. Shake Shack is hitting, and I'm gonna tell you, bro.
It's cool, bro.
Hey, I haven't had Shake Shack yet. I'm tripping.
Let me tell y'all something though. It's cool because I got the best of both worlds, man. I lived in the South for a minute. I'm back at home now, so we got In-N-Out. It's all good.
Y'all got Roscoe's though. Y'all got Roscoe's. We can't compare. Waffle House ain't as good as Roscoe's. You feel me?
Be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
It's not. It's
be
not,
careful,
bro. It's not. I got.
It's not. It's not.
Bob is the president and CEO of Waffle House, bro.
He is a chef.
Crazy. I'm surprised y'all got a brand deal from them, bro.
Bro, I need it. I mean, I may get one on the IRL channel. You know what I'm saying? Just put a little Waffle House in the video. They may talk to me. You know what I'm saying? They might talk to me.
Waffle House do-rags. Brought to you by Cinco.
I'm glad he's touching on the whole do-rag thing. And, I know you say you listen to Lupe and everything. We got a good versus coming up. Who do you think is going to win the versus?
Here we go.
Who do you think is going to win the versus?
Soulja Boy, Bow Wow.
Or Soulja?
Damn. I would say probably Soulja Boy. But mainly because like
Jesus Christ.
I feel like Soulja Boy's just been more versatile, like in a weird way. Like
it's so weird, bro.
I don't even think he needs to be a rapper. He's just a guy that gets money, but he just money was just like music was just his route. So he was like more experimental in the way he did shit. And from time to time, you hear a Soulja Boy song and think like, oh man, that's a hitter right there. And and he's been relevant for a while. I just like Soulja Boy a little bit better.
His personality.
Bow Wow was cool too, but if I had to vote, I actually had to listen to it because you might surprise me with Bow Wow. I'm not gonna lie. But if I had to vote ahead of time,
don't do that.
Listen. What he's doing is bringing you into some personal stuff. Don't be a part of it. Stop answering questions. Nah, man, because Twan, man, he from LA and he like different stuff. When it come to Bow Wow and Soulja and
bro, I didn't even say, I'm not even vouching for Bow Wow, bro. We listen to Soulja Boy. I'm not vouching. Look, I'm trying to get them to understand this. Look, Bow Wow been in the game for a long time, no matter how flawed his personality is, bro. It's the same thing with Soulja. Both of them the same. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is, what bro touched on is that Soulja's he a hustler, man. He gonna get money regardless. Even if he ain't got no hits, he gonna get some bread. And I'm just on the outside looking in. But when we talking about music and pure hits, bro, we have to give Bow Wow a fair chance. That's all I'm gonna say. You can say that Soulja Boy been relevant.
Number one.
But bro,
I would give Bow Wow a fair chance. So I want to hear it. I just think ahead of time that Soulja would have the edge.
Hey, let me ask you this. I hate to interrupt. Has any one of your homeboys ever said, "Hey man, you got that Bow Wow"?
That's never happened.
that's big cap. I ain't never said that to Jane in my life.
Nah, man. Have you ever been to a club or a spot where Bow Wow came on?
I ain't never said that was Soulja.
I can't tell you.
Nah, you probably said
you probably said it like crank that, but I mean like.
So that Zan with that lean?
Yes, bro.
Now that's Soulja.
This is what y'all not understanding.
Okay.
Y'all go on the mixtape Soulja, Big Draco, all this other stuff. I'm talking about Billboard hits. You can't compare. We can look it up right now. Like,
I was
out right now.
I was done with Bow Wow when he did this.
Let me hold you.
Hey man, look, Agent, how you
Bow Wow, bro.
How you felt about the fight, Logan and Floyd?
Damn, all the fight taught me was I prefer watching MMA. But it was fun for what it was. It's just like when people get in the clinch because they don't want to box in MMA, you could throw knees. So it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like you could like, you know what I'm saying, do a takedown, you could get into wrestling. So it's like when someone clinches, there's opportunity for entertainment. And I like watching people on the ground fighting for position too. Mm-hmm. So I'm not big into either, but I was like, man, this is like, I'm excited because of the people in there, but the undercard was more interesting to watch.
I agree.
Yeah,
I was laughing at Chad.
Well, the undercards were
actual,
well, outside of Chad, the other two undercards were actual boxers.
They was, yeah. My thing that I'm trying to understand is what is going through these guys' heads to make them think. I understand you're an athlete, you ran track maybe when you was young or whatever. Why do they keep going into boxing? Like
funny, man.
And I felt like when Chad got knocked down, he had a thing in his head like,
don't be Nate Robinson.
I can't be like Nate.
Don't be Nate.
I gotta he got up so quick and went like this. He was like, I'm good. Like it was just crazy. I don't understand. Like that ring is a different animal. Like I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta just know your lane.
Indeed. I think sometimes like they want to fight, but they know don't even attempt MMA. Like there's so much to know. Like even if you get good at boxing, like what if they take you to the ground? Now you learn jujitsu. So
you get elbows in the face.
Yes. So I think boxing is just like the simpler way. Not saying it's a simple sport at all, but for a person who has no knowledge, it's easier to understand or even participate in boxing. But I wouldn't try Floyd though. Like I thought Logan had some balls on him for getting there with Floyd.
Let's touch on young Gino.
Hey man, it's been a great episode. You guys have been great, man.
Your man right here said he jumping in the ring with Floyd for $30.
Look, AJ, remember you asked me 30 million?
Yeah.
And so I asked them 30 million on our other episode. Would they get in there for 30 million? And Gene was like, what? $30?
All right, so okay, all right.
That's like a lifetime of head damage. Like you would hope he knocks you out early, because if you had to take those beatings, you might feel him 20 years later.
But Gene's 6'8", 250.
All right, bro. I was about to say, how tall are you, Agent? How tall?
I'm 5'11".
And you're probably around 170, 160?
I'm 200.
200? Okay, well, you wear it well. The point is 5'11", 200, because of your height, Floyd's 5'8". He would still touch you up, but I promise you it wouldn't hurt as bad as you think it would. Mike Tyson, that's different. Mike coming in at 220.
But like also, like he's gonna get. Do you have any experience boxing?
No, not at all. He would make me look stupid. I never said I was gonna win.
You don't think he would knock you out?
He don't think he'll get knocked out.
Here's the thing though. You don't even really have to get knocked out though, because
that was my point.
Because you can just jab you in the liver, and now you don't know how to breathe anymore. You're on the floor.
He don't have the power to do that. I'm too heavy. I'm too big, bro. It's not. All right, so
Floyd doesn't have the power to do that.
He's 6'8", 250, Agent. So it's different for him.
You really not into.
No, I understand. Like there's a size difference. It'd be more difficult for him to get into your zone, because he'd have to like really work his way in there. But he's also Floyd, so he'd work his way in there.
He would mop me, bro. Like, but he can't hurt me necessarily. He can't knock me out. He can't hurt me. Now, the reason I'm saying this, Logan Paul, after the fight, did you see his face?
I saw.
Did you see any cuts or bruises?
No. He had a little bit, but it wasn't.
But everybody lost count how many times he got hit, right? He got touched up, but he wasn't hurt. He was conscious.
Yeah. But that's not a size thing though. Some people just have strong jaws. Like Logan was eating those.
Yeah, but we've also seen Logan bleeding when he fought at his weight. He came in 190, 6'1".
Wait, which fight was that? Which fight was that?
It was the one he lost.
KSI.
KSI?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even like count that, because it was years ago. I was there for that fight. Like I watched it happen. Okay. Logan probably would have won if it wasn't for the penalty he got, and if he had more stamina. He was a better boxer than KSI.
He ain't had no stamina versus Floyd either. Whatever cardio program he on, they need to revamp that, because he was tired in the second round.
But the point is Floyd would make me look stupid. Number one, I'm not turning down 30 million for nobody on this earth. As long as they're human.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder.
I will fight Deontay Wilder, but boy, I fake a knockout. So Deontay can hurt me, because Deontay's 6'7", 225, 230 on a good day. Like I'm 250, still a little bit heavier, but he can put me down pretty quickly, bro.
So would you
fake?
Would you do like mixed martial arts? Like if you had to hop in with like GSP?
No. Hell no, because if Conor McGregor wanted to fight me, right? He's probably your height, like 5'11", right? 5'2".
Yeah.
McGregor would probably knock me out, like, because it's just so many different things. He would make me tap out of it's so many different things you can do in MMA.
Yeah.
Like, he could probably break my leg, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's different with that. Boxing is a lot less fear, because a guy like Wilder can give me a concussion, but I know I'm gonna live. You know what I'm saying? In MMA, it could go a lot of ways. Like you can hurt your shoulder, or you can get submitted in a different way, or break your arm in an arm bar if you don't tap out.
Do you know what
that
glove
lasts
you
you 6 months?
I think Floyd and Logan fought with 10 ounce. I think they fought 10 ounce.
Okay, never mind then, because those are pretty thin.
Yeah, I was about to say, Regs is like 14 to 16 ounces, right?
Either 12 to 14 or 14 to 16.
I think it's 14 to 16.
10 is thin. Yeah, I wouldn't get in no ring with nobody. I'll find another way to make that money, I guess, because I don't have the balls to hop in there with any professional fighter. I just don't.
Hey, bro. Yeah, if you go out like Nate, man, that ain't worth it.
That ain't worth it.
I'm not even about the embarrassment, bro. It's about
I'm about to say it, man.
I don't want to catch like CTE though. Like From can you imagine you get a TKO and like nah.
Hey man, that's crazy. But look, Agent, appreciate you stopping by the podcast, man, for sure. First guest on the podcast, and it was a good one. And we're gonna close it out with Brooklyn beating the dog shit out of Milwaukee, man. So y'all stay blessed. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stay blessed.
All right.